जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्त वृंद. I wish all of you happy Gaur Purnima. We will try to discuss on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And today we will, actually I was talking on 11th canto, 5th chapter, 33rd verse. We will continue it some other time, but I wanted to discuss some other important topics on this. And we will see Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishaya Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Vicharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So this class is for devotees who are not able to go to temple in the morning. There will be, we thought we'll discuss on this. And I wanted to explain some of the verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita and try to understand it a little more deeply. Kona karane yebe haila avatare mana yuga dharma kala haila sei kala milana. When the Lord desired to appear for another reason, the time for promulgation, the religion of age also arose. Dui hetu avatari lana bhaktagana apane aswade prema nama sankirtana. Thus, with two intentions, the Lord appeared with his devotees and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. Sei dvare achandale kirtana sanchare nama prema mala ganti paraile samsare. Thus he spread kirtan even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and prema with which he garlanded the entire material world. Yei mata bhakta bhave kari angikara apane achari bhakta karila prachara. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. So this is the main point of discussion, huge purport. We'll see some part of this purport and then we will have our discussion. It is said that when Prabhupada writes, when Rupa Goswami met Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, Allahabad, he offered his respectful obeisances by submitting that Lord Chaitanya was more magnanimous than any other avatar of Krishna because he was distributing love of Krishna. His mission was to enhance love of God in the human form of life. The highest achievement is to attain the platform of love of God. Lord Chaitanya did not invent a system of religion as people sometimes assume. Religious systems are meant to show the existence of God, who is then generally approached as the cosmic order supplier. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental mission is to distribute love of God to everyone. Anyone who accepts God as the supreme can take to the process of chanting Hare Krishna and become a lover of God. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is most magnanimous. This munificent broadcasting of devotional service is possible only for Krishna himself. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has taught the philosophy of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who surrenders to the Supreme can make further progress by learning to love Him. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement propagated by Lord Chaitanya is especially meant for those who are cognizant of the presence of the Supreme Godhead, the ultimate control of everything. His mission is to teach people how to dovetail themselves into engagements of transcendental loving service. He is Krishna teaching his own service for the position of a devotee. The Lord's acceptance of the role of a devotee is the eternal form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is another of Lord's wonderful features. The conditioned souls cannot reach the absolute personality of Godhead by his imperfect endeavor, and therefore it is wonderful that Lord Sri Krishna, in the form of Lord Gauranga, had made it easy for everyone to approach him. We'll try to understand some of the things. Of course, there are other important points also comes in the further. So in this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was preaching Yoga Dharma, what he was doing. So first of all, he himself accepted the mood of Bhakta. He himself became a devotee. He himself became a humble Vaishnava. He is God. He can do anything. If necessary, he has weapon in his hand. But when he comes in the age of Kali at this time, he is imbued with the mood of a devotee, and he does it for two purposes. First is in order to experience the taste of it himself, and in order to share with everyone else. So we have discussed all this. Now here Prabhupada emphasizes how important it is for us to feel the same mood. That is in the later part of the purport. We didn't take it. Now Lord himself comes to teach us to worship Krishna. Now can one worship Krishna? Yes, it is possible only when we are in certain mood. See, very important point. Worshipping Krishna is not some kind of physical action. We are generally there is a programming. Worship means it's like a ritual. People think that everything is clear. We just have to start and we just have to rotate something in front of Krishna, take a mala and rotate something in front of Krishna and everything will be all good. No, just by rotating or twisting something, it is not possible because spiritual world is called Bhava Jagat. Bhava Jagat means that it consists of emotions or love. So God can be worshipped only by love. So when love is in our heart, all that we do will become worship. Not just because I am twisting something. It will not happen. So this bhava is the main thing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought. It's not just he's brought some rituals. He brought what? He brought this bhav, the mood that is needed to worship the Lord. Because there are so many rituals before also. Before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, there were so many rituals available. But what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought along with the rituals, he brought the same, most important thing is the how, the mood. He brought this to teach us to worship Krishna. In Chaitanya Mangal Lochandas Thakur, he says that why Krishna comes to Kali Yuga and why he comes in this form. So he tells the story of when Lord Chaitanya was 9 years old, his father Jagannath Mishra, he decided to hold the ceremony of rewarding his son the sacred thread and dedicating him to the Brahmanas. Usually this ceremony means qualification in order to study the Vedas. So a spiritual master, or in this case, a father, whispers in the right ear the Gayatri mantra, which is concentrated form of all Vedas. It is considered the gist, it's the zip file of all Vedas. By reciting Gayatri, one can understand all the Vedas. So in that way, gradually, it reveals all the spiritual knowledge contained in the Vedas in the heart of a person. Now, without this ritual, one one cannot study, one does not have the right to study the Vedas without this ritual. So he will not understand anything in the Vedas. So this is very much compulsory. So these are the people who studied Vedas. There are people who now presently what happening is people they're translating Vedas into Russian or English and other languages around the world. And they publish it. Now what happens, it is impossible to study Vedas in that way. Only words will remain a set of meaningless words. Because even if they know some meaning, in the end it will all just run away. The meanings will have no impact on. Because traditional way of studying Vedic knowledge is to get Gayatri mantra from spiritual master and start chanting this Veda Mata. Gayatri is called Veda Mata. And then while chanting, one gradually feels within that all the Vedas, they are teaching us to worship the Supreme Lord. So this is the meaning of Gayatri. It is only for my consciousness to be enlightened. It will become clear that I should go along the path indicated in the Vedas and finally go beyond this world. So that's the purpose. So Vedas say, leave the darkness of the world, come to the light. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. So this is, but in order to live in darkness and go to the light, we need to know the Vedas are given, they are giving this path. Now Jagannath Mishra, he arranged a magnificent ceremony for his son, and Sachimata smeared his body with turmeric oil, powder, oil, and he was dressed with garlands, and Brahmana recited Vedic mantras. And at some point, Jagannath Mishra began to whisper in his ear the Gayatri mantra. He whispered to him the sacred sounds of this innermost mantra that can be heard. Actually, it is a secret mantra. Now it is no more secret. Every corner of India we can hear it is played in loudspeakers. But actually, mantra is a very secret. And after that, the boy should go to the father or spiritual master, bow down to him, take a bowl in front of him, ask for donation. And this is actually disciples' vow in humility. So humility achieved by walking and asking for alms. And he gets a staff also, a staff, a stick actually. It is a sign of discipleship. Now it is said that when the ceremony took place, when he was given a bowl and a staff, what happened is immediately uh, at that moment, Nimai began to think that the work of his life, that someday I would leave home, someday I would take a staff, someday I would go and beg to knock the door to door, and means he remembered that, oh, I am going to take sannyas and I am going to do this. He was at the time age of 9 only. So, and immediately at that moment, the hairs on his body stood on end. Tears rolled from his eyes, and a cry burst from his throat. Hari bol! It was so tumultuous, it was so thunderous scream that shook all the foundation of this world only. Everyone shook and no one could understand anything. People, all uh, eyes were filled of Nimai only. Everybody looked at him. He was looking like a Kadamba flower. Kadamba, you all seen. It's a flower which is covered with goosebumps, which is ecstasy. Therefore, Srimad Rana is compared with Kadamba tree. Because these signs of ecstasy appear on the body of Nimai. And it riveted the eyes of people. And the Pandits, the Brahmanas who are present at that ceremony, they began to discuss among themselves, who is he? What about him? What happened to him? Why he roared like Hari Bol? And now they began to talk among themselves suddenly. They thought, maybe he is Krishna only. He came to spread the Yuga Dharma. That thought came to the people. He said in Bhagavad Gita, whenever religion fails, into decay. I come to this world and restore religion. And they began to reason about it. Maybe he must be Krishna, or maybe he must be God. Maybe he came in order to restore religion that was lost. And now we will try to discuss this very important understanding we should have. Because it is said that Lord comes in Dwapar Yuga and preaches the deity worship, Vigraha Archana. Because Vedas say that in every yuga or each and every era, the humanity experiences uh, as it degrades, starting from Satyuga to Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, then the methods are different. This is a very important understanding we should have. The methods are different, and because there is certain mood also. Now, so there in the conversation, one of the person, he said his name was Sudarshan. He says a very interesting. He says that Krishna comes to Dwapar Yuga. So actually one devotee he was explaining this, not in that past time is over. This is another thing I wanted to explain. So he says that Dwapar Yuga, Krishna comes to Dwapar Yuga and he began to preach about worship in temple. So that is the avatara generally. It should come in Dwapar Yuga. But something different, a strange thing happened in this Dwapar Yuga. Krishna came. Generally, he comes as some avatara in Kali Yuga, in Dwapar Yuga. But he directly comes in Dwapar Yuga. And but he come in the very end, not in the beginning. Generally, he should come, Yuga Avatara means he should come in the beginning of Yuga. And then he established the Yuga Dharma and he continues. But in this case, he comes in the very end. And what he does, he kills demons, dances in Rasa Leela, performs some of the Leelas, and he did not do his work. What is the work of Yuga Dharma? Deity worship. He didn't tell only. So Yuga Avatara, and what happened is in Dwaparika, people have two qualities. The Dharma stands generally on four legs in Satyuga and remains on two legs in Dwapara Yuga. People have truthfulness and purity, especially in Dwapara Yuga. Mercy is left in the austerities, mercy, truthfulness, and purity. Four things are there in Satyuga. Because they can perform austerity, so Satyuga they perform austerity. But that is lost. But mercy and truthfulness and purity is there in Treta Yuga. Because they have mercy, that's why they can perform sacrifices. So, but when mercy leaves, then person can no longer perform sacrifice. They are killing animals in sacrifices. So you show mercy. Otherwise, you just kill and eat. In Treta Yuga, people can perform sacrifice because this is the manifestation of generosity of mercy. Sacrifice means you give more and more to people. It is generosity. So when there is no mercy, then sacrifice turns into opposite. You are just slaughtering the animals. They still have cleanliness. So that is purity is there. So they are given a method, especially in Dwapara Yuga, so that they can clean their heart by strictly regulated worship of the image of Lord in the temple. That is why in Dwapara Yuga, this method is given because they are already having that purity, cleanliness, and because of which for them to worship the deity is possible. Their heart is clean. They don't get bad thoughts. But in Kali Yuga, that is problem. And he said, okay. Then he said, what happened in Dwapara Yuga? So, uh, why did the a difference happen. In Dwapara Yuga, Krishna comes and preaches. In previous Dwapara Yuga, he did not do this. Because why did he Krishna? Krishna simply thought it is no much use. I already tried many times. I came, taught them worship of the deities, nothing is happening much. People did it, but they lost, uh, they missed the point. Means they are ending up in Vaikuntha. They are not understanding Goloka. So they lost the most important thing. So all methods that are given in any yuga, in the end, should lead any person to only one thing. A person has only one goal. That is what love of God. But people worship, come to the temple, cleanse their heart, and nothing is happening. Krishna is Bhagavan. Krishna is God himself. And it does not have everything stereotypical. Like, okay, every time he should come. So he changes also. This time he changed. And in all other yugas, he comes and teaches as needed. But in this, he thought, I will try something else. Maybe it will work. Something else will come. So he comes us and teaches as needed. And therefore, he came in Dwapara Yuga. He came at the end on the border between Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. And he did not do anything only. He just showed his leelas. He just performed his pastimes. He simply showed some other priceless thing actually. He brought a whole holiday, an eternal holiday of spiritual world to this material world. And in Brahma Samhita, it is said that the spiritual world, uh, Shriyah Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatarvo Druma Bhumis Chintamani Ganamayi Toim Amritam Kata Ganam Natyam Gamanamapi Vamshi Priyasat. So he brought from the spiritual world, the eternal spiritual world. And it is said that the spiritual world, every sound is a song, every step is a dance, every day is a holiday. So here today we have a holiday, Gaur Purnima. We can feel certain sublime feeling within us. So in spiritual world, every day is like this, and there is no management there. There is no temples, no administration that need to, because in temple means always we need management. All things are done there. And there is only holiday. Krishna comes and this is like he is in a very joyful mood. Now he brought that eternal holiday of the spiritual world where he regains and where love rules. And everything there is so wonderful. Now what happens is in this world, unfortunately, we need management because there is no love. That's why we need management. Because there is envy. Therefore, management is needed. All the problems, this is all these headaches are there. But Krishna came and he showed how we can live forever and be forever happy. Sometimes this also is a difficult problem for people. For the idea that we need to live forever, because people will feel uneasy. They think, what will I do? What will I do all the time? Will I not get bored? Will there eternity? But Krishna explains how we can live forever and be always happy at the same time. So he tells the secret, which is simply called prema. So when there is love, nothing can be bored actually. If same food, same thing we are eating, here also we get bored. But in spiritual world, it's not like. Every day becomes new. Every action becomes new. Every smile becomes new. Every day. When Srimati Radharani looks at Krishna and thinks, oh, who is this? I never saw such a handsome man. So for Radharani, every time Krishna looks new only. One time she tells to her friends, oh, I am very unchaste. This is why. Actually, I got attracted to person named Krishna. When I heard the name Krishna, I got attracted. And then I heard the flute. I got attracted to the person who is playing the flute. And then I saw a form. I got attracted to that form. So I attracted to three people. And Gopi said, don't worry, all three are one person only. So this is, and every time it also multiplies Krishna's beauty. So Srimati Radharani says, so who is this? I never saw such a handsome man. Never. Every day her feeling is fresh and new. So Krishna came and showed all of us this. And he decided to conduct an experiment. He decided to try it differently this time. He came along with his whole wandering troupe with all the artists of his theater. So he showed his performance and with all small commercials. So like before the movie, we have a commercial. So best shots of the movie are taken and they are shown in the commercial. So similarly, uh, Krishna is coming and showing killing of Bakasur, Aghasur, Pralambasur. So like that, there are small parts of his Leela. Is an advertisement. Showed what the spiritual world means. He showed a holiday that is there. And then also he understood it is very difficult for living entity to understand. He know that this was not enough. Therefore, in this special combination of Dwapara and Kali Yuga, which is uh, called the special world, Swatantra. If Krishna comes and does something normally in the ordinary yugas, then he does something uh, extremely usual in these two yugas. He explains what love means. He restores it to the last resort. So we are actually very lucky because it is a logical sequence. After Krishna comes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should come only. Otherwise, the purpose of Krishna is not solved. Who will explain what Krishna did? Only Krishna can explain. So he only comes as Chaitanya to make every living entity. Because other pastimes are quite easy. Understand. If there is Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Vamana, they are very straight. Krishna is not straight. We'll discuss that also. Here, Krishna comes and does something and we are very fortunate to be born in this time. So we cannot believe it sometimes. How can we be fortunate? But actually, it is a fact. The Shastras explain that there are two special when Krishna himself comes first and shows what kingdom of love means. And then he comes as Lord Chaitanya to explain to us what we must do in order to find this love. So he's coming to immediately back to back he has to come. First he's showing it, the kingdom, and it's oh very nice, very nice. Then he has to again come to show how to go there. Then only it is complete now. We see and say, okay, very good, but not for me. And people hear about America and other places and they want to go. So when we hear about spiritual world, then we'll also get a desire to go. So this is actually what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing here. And then Srila Prabhupada says that Sri Krishna Chaitanya is God himself. Why? Because he explains in an amazing way in the commentary. Prabhupada says that because he gives what only God himself can give. And he explains what love means and makes this love available. What he does is to make the love of God extraordinarily accessible. And here in these verses which we discussed, these are explained. And how he is putting this love in the holy name. That is the method he gave. And then when we repeat this holy name in particular mood, because in other yugas also of the incarnation of God, Lord descends. They also preach mantras. They give different mantras. And in Kali Yuga, they Q, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also there in Upanishads. So in Kali Santara Upanishad, it is given that Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. So, and in Kali Santara Upanishad, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is explained as Taraka Brahma. Taraka Brahma means the sound that allows one to free oneself from the grip, from the slavery of matter. That's why it is Taraka. It is helping us to cross over. So there is Taraka Shakti in it. But in this age of Kali, so anytime people are chanting, they have this benefit of Taraka Mantra. But now this time, this is very special. There are two Shaktis. When Lord Chaitanya invested in it, usually in ordinary centuries, there is only one Shakti, Taraka Shakti. And in this, so Taraka Shakti allows a person free from slavery of matter and material desires. And there is another Shakti called Paraka, Parak Shakti. What this Shakti is ability to find highest love. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does this with these sounds. He explains that Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not just Taraka, but it also helps us to gain love for the Lord. So usually in other ages, it is only Taraka Shakti. Person is free from this. Now, in one of the verses, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that he takes the mantra and when we repeat, what does this is called sadhana, repeating. So man repeats the mantra in order to achieve something. So there are many mantras that help different help and achieve this. But Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this sadhana is the means to end. This is one more important point. Like say I do something to achieve something, right? So in other yugas, you chant the name to get purified, to get go to Vaikuntha. But Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not like that. You are chanting Hare Krishna to get Harinam only. That's all. The means and end are both Hare Krishna only. There is no difference. Difference between mantra can achieve. So for other there is difference in the mantra. Means with mantra you achieve something, but Hare Krishna mantra that is actually sadhana only, and that is the end. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing this. He takes and weaves a tool, and he weaves the name as a means and prema, love as the goal. So he's already in the name. So nothing is missing. We don't need anything. Just chanting Hare Krishna gives prema, and that is only is there in that. And we continuously chant in spiritual world also. Nothing is missing. Love can be found in the sound of the holy name. If we repeat it correctly in right mood, bhakti bhav. So if we catch the mood in which love is revealed in our heart. In this way, Lord Chaitanya does when he comes here and when he cries in Jagannath Puri. From birth, he has been doing that. Now we'll try to discuss some pastimes of Lord. I don't want to trouble you so much. Now everything is the sound of the holy name. So this faith is most important thing what we have. The faith is that we preach here. The faith is that this whatever we are staying, this building is standing. The faith is why we want to build large constructions, buildings, temples. So it's all in this, everything we can find in Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The faith, the sound of the holy name, a person can find everything. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. And this is the reason. Now, Lord Chaitanya, he comes and he begins to teach us how to, this is very important. He appeared in February 18th, 1486. This is 500 odd years. He came in the family of Jagannath Mishra Sachimata. Now it is impossible to understand how the Lord comes. Because Vrindavan Das Thakur says that he was born from the womb of Mother Sachi as the moon is born in the east. And we may think that east begetted the moon. No, greatest east to the moon is just rising. So in the same way, Lord Chaitanya comes in the age of Kali in order to dispel the darkness and to give us a feeling of love. And he repeating this mantra and giving this mantra and put his love from the very beginning. So when he was a young boy, so one day what happened is he went to play with his friends at Ganges. He saw a small puppy, and there are several puppies, and they are fumbling in the dust, and they were very small, helpless, and children. Now children attacked them, so small children began to no hold them and all. So Nimai also grabbed one of the most beautiful puppies, and everyone became envious of him. Other small children, they say, "Give the puppy, give the puppy." So he pressed his puppy to his chest and began to hug, stroke, and say, whatever, trying to play. And one boy, he was terribly envied. He said, "If you don't give me the puppy back, I'll go and complain to your mother." Gauranga said, "It's my puppy." So boy ran and said to Sachi, "Do you know what your son is doing? He's a son of a Brahmana, and he is from the family of Brahmanas, and he took a dirty puppy and pressed it to himself. And when Sachimata uh, and what so then Sachimata heard it, she was horrified. She ran to where Nima is playing and he saw the puppy. And it is actually considered impure to have dog. Of course, people keep in the house also now. It is up to them, but that is the standard is different. And then what happened is this puppy sometime licked him, sometime the puppy spit and it fall on the body of Nimai, but Nimai is rejoicing. He is in the dust and Sachimata was horrified. She said, "Nimai, what are you? What's wrong with you?" And Nimai pressed the puppy to his chest and shouted, "My puppy, my puppy." And I will not give it back. My favorite. Sachi said, "Your puppy?" And you will stay with it forever, but please go and wash it. Okay, you can have it forever, but go and wash yourself in Ganges before coming and eating dinner. So it will be good if you begin to. It's not good that if you're eating like this. And Nima agreed. What he did, he tied the puppy properly and said, "Wait for me, friend, I'll come soon." And Sakimata took it and untied the puppy and let it go. And this boy who was watching all these things, he ran to Nima and cried out, "Nima, your mother kicked the puppy out." And Nima, so Nima screamed out of Ganges and he started running and came to his mom. "Mom, where is my puppy?" And there was no puppy. He started rolling on the ground. And then Sachimata, she pressed him to his chest and she started passing. She said, "Nima, your puppy just went for a walk. He will come back. No, don't worry. Sit down and eat." And Nima began to eat. Now, what happened is, meanwhile, the people saw this puppy. Suddenly, several people gathered and they saw the puppy jumping, opening its mouth wide and shouting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And puppy sang, no, Jai Radhe Govind. But so then, because the puppy that Nimai touched felt this love that is there in his heart. So Krishna himself came to give this love even to puppies, even to those who are worse than puppies. Because puppies in Navdeep are very special living entities. But he gave us and Exhaust fan डाल. So it is. So he came to give the most incredible things actually. It is incomprehensible. Now, actually, when Nimai was very small, that time he used to cry, and all the women in the neighborhood they used to come. And initially, they were not knowing how to make this child calm. But once they started chanting, then he started becoming calm. So this is actually important lesson. So what happens is, and whenever they stop chanting, he used to cry. So they used to take turns and sit always with Nimai and do kirtans in the house. So what Lord Chaitanya is telling that we are crying in this material world because we don't have Krishna. So we need to continuously chant the holy name. Then we'll be free from whatever cryings we have in this world. So that is the first lesson. And then what happens is after few days, when he became little big, then he used to go on the road when all the women are doing kirtan in the house. If we used to see somebody who is selling sandesh, bananas, or coconut, he used to ask them, "Can you give me?" And seeing a small boy and very beautiful looking, so they used to give him freely. He used to collect them and distribute to the women who are doing kirtans. What Lord is telling, you just continue doing the kirtan. Yogakshem Vahamyaham. I will take care of all the things that is needed for you. Now we'll try to discuss some two important, very important points. Nimai came to give us the opportunity to touch the highest spiritual divine love, which is incomprehensible, to which there is nothing in this world. So that is love in Krishna. Now we heard this phrase, God is love. Now, only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can explain what this means is, what God means love, and what love means in the highest degree. So Vedas say that the nature of God is incomprehensible. So from here, it is two technical things. Try to understand. Very interesting. So that God is by definition Viruda Dharma. That the nature of God is contradict. Viruda Dharma. Now, God is absolute, and therefore He must combine in Himself all the contradictions. Now, we'll try to understand there are three levels of Viruddha Dharma or conflicting natures. So, when Lord Chaitanya comes, He manifests the highest level of controversies actually. But this is way of teaching the love, because there is Brahma Viruddha. Brahma is controversial. So Veda says Brahman has no legs. There are no legs. No one knows where Brahman has legs or not, because Vedas say there are no legs, but he can run faster than all of them. So tad dejati tannediti tad dure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tatu sarvasya shabhahyata. So in Ishopanishad we hear all these things. So Vedas say Brahman has no hands, no legs, yet he can grasp everything. He can be present everywhere. Brahman has no eyes, yet he sees everything. Brahman has no ears, but he can hear everything. And he is Nirakar, and he is Acharan, and yet Brahman hears everything. So no one knows Brahman, but Brahman knows everyone. This is the first level of contradiction. And Upanishads explain this is the transcendental sense. They are trying to take us beyond the limits of logic. Very important point. To understand Lord Chaitanya and to understand what we should do is we need to go beyond the linear logic. What we have to go? We have to go beyond the linear logic. So Brahman is God by definition. inconsistent. This is the first level of contradiction, Brahma Virudha. That means if I am telling, Arey, he is very far and he is very near, how is it possible? He is everywhere, but he has a shape, he has a form. How is it possible? So these are the things which is called very contradictory. So Brahma Virudha this is. And the second level of contradiction, when God comes as Krishna, there is also an inner contradiction in him. The contradiction between the fact that he is God and he comes as a man. So there is a contradiction between Aishwarya and Madhurya. He is God. So he is omnipotent. He has all powers. Yet that omnipotent God sometimes cannot lift a small table and chair. Are, how is it possible? He is full of Aishwarya. And Nanda Baba says, bring me that stool or something. He said, no, I cannot lift it. But he is omnipotent. So he cannot do this. So now another, God is self-satisfied. He is called Apta Kamar Aptara, Atmaram, self-satisfied. But he still shouts, Mom, I want to eat. And he begins to eat laddu. And when one time when Krishna, he gathered all the cowherd people under Govardhan hill, right? And he lifted Govardhan hill. They began to say to, and the cowherd, but they began to say to Nanda Maharaj, something is unclear here. Probably your son is God. Because in the end, who could hold on the little finger, tip on the little finger, such a huge mountain? Because Krishna kept the mountain on his little finger for 7 days. And Nanda Maharaj began to say, maybe he is God. And then explains, but he asked them, okay, explain to me how he can be God. Nanda Maharaj asking others. Because God is self-satisfied. He cannot come and shout, let me eat, I am hungry, I am hungry. No, he's always coming and he's saying to Mother Yashoda, I am always hungry. And Nanda Maharaj says, God cannot be fearful, right? But Krishna, when he hears the thundering and lightning, he begins to tremble and he runs out of his bed, crawls into the bed of Yashoda and tremblingly hides under her blanket and cries, and she calms him. So this is called Krishna Viruda. So here first is Lord, he is Lord, but he's coming as a human also. So he's performing all the things of a human being. So the contradiction between Aishwarya and Madhurya. So Krishna comes as a controversial, like a beggar, he is God. Like he becomes a beggar. He's God, he's self-satisfied. But still, as a beggar, he asks Srimati Radharani, please have mercy on me. And so Nanda Maharaj is asking, how can he be God? He always loves eating and he always speaks lies. His God means he's truthful. But Krishna is always lying only. So now another contradiction that Krishna is the contradiction between the fact that God is independent, right? So two contradictions we saw. First is contradiction of Brahman, contradiction of Krishna coming as human. And he is always unfulfilled in desire. All his desires are unfulfilled and so many things are there. And then there is the third contradiction is the fact that Krishna is independent. God is independent. So can God depend on someone? Independent God is completely Swarat, Swatantra. It does not depend on anything or anyone. But we can see as Krishna, he begins to depend on everyone. If he is allowed to eat, if he is not allowed to eat, he begins to cry. Mom binds him. Not only does mom binds him, his friends bind him, gopis bind him. Everyone who is not lazy binds him. And he is supposed to be completely independent, but he sits there bound by all these people, and he's asking them, begging them, untie me, please. And he asks, no, he begs, please forgive me. And he's also asking for, please give me love. Now he is absolutely independent God, walks like a beggar, and begs for alms. So this is the contradiction. And now there is more difficult thing in this world. Brahman is very difficult to understand. People study Upanishads to understand. Somehow, uh, like people are trying to understand Krishna and cannot understand. Still, people are saying, well, they say, what kind of Krishna is dancing? His dancing is incomprehensible for many people. That too with other people's wife. Now, even Brahma, who is sitting in Brahmaloka, he also did not understand. He is thinking, is this God or not? So sometimes Brahma looks down at the cowherd girls and does not understand anything. He says, I can understand everything, but why does he eat with his left hand? Brahma is confused. And Brahma, because he sets all the rules in the creation. And God comes and breaks. Krishna comes and breaks all the rules which Brahma sets. All the and Krishna is impossible to understand. But there is something that is even more difficult to understand. Like that is where Lord Chaitanya comes and teaches. He comes and begins to teach love. Love is where mind completely there is where the mind completely enters, get absorbed, because no one can truly understand what love is. So the contradiction of love. But Lord Chaitanya comes to teach us. He begins to explain to us what true love is and who is, and especially to whom he is teaching who are unworthy, all of us. So he began to explain what Radha experienced in separation from Krishna. He comes and takes her mood and completely accepts her mood in separation and cries. So Lord Chaitanya spent last many of his years in Gambhira chanting Hare Krishna and sobbing. And he used to continuously chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So with the help of this, he tried to explain to us that the biggest contradiction, the contradiction of love, when in separation, there is a feeling of meeting. Now, one last important thing, we'll discuss this one important. 5,000 years ago, Uddhava came to Vrindavan. Krishna lived in Mathura, Dwarka that time. Uddhava was near him, and Uddhava constantly used to give some advice to Krishna. He always said, you must do like this, you should do like this. And Uddhava communicated with Krishna on an equal terms with his friend, with him as a friend. He was very intelligent, and Krishna looked at Uddhava and thought, he does not understand anything in life. He does not anything. Therefore, he decided to send him to Vrindavan. Even though all the time Uddhava was speaking and giving advice, Krishna thought he don't understand only. So he took a letter, he said, okay, go and give it to Vrindavan. So Uddhava comes to Vrindavan. When he saw there, it began to break his heart at the first moment. He saw what love means. Krishna left Vrindavan, Krishna left him and went away with him, and he said that I'll come back. And day after day, month after month, year after year, he did not return. And Uddhava comes here and saw this Vrindavan. Now, the worst thing he saw was at the very end, because first he meets Krishna's father, mother, who are barely able to speak. This is with difficulty he showed some, they were able to show him some respect and etiquette. And Uddhava accepted and they fed him and he tried to maintain some kind of conversation. But when Uddhava, out of his concern, he, and he saw Krishna's mother was crying, and unable to do anything. And then he understood. But what happens is, it was not end. And then there was this parikrama in Vrindavan. So he came to one kunj in, and he saw one girl. She was surrounded by 8 of her friends. She was lying on a naked floor. She's just on the floor. She's lying, and the hot breath escaped her, no, lungs. She mourned. She lay on the tears, and sometimes she said, "What am I doing here? Why I am not going to die? Why am I still not dying? I want to die. Why can't I die? This poison burns me from within. The poisons of separation from Krishna burns me completely." And actually, so many details are there. I'll not go. So, actually, the first parikrama of Rajmandal parikrama is done by Vrindavan, now by Uddhava, which is taken by all the gopis. They showed different place. So Uddhava understood by seeing this Radharani's position. Very big conversation is there. And then when he saw what, he felt ashamed, because all that he used to consider love, all his reasoning, all his philosophy seemed to him miserable and insignificant. He saw that what love of God means. Lord Chaitanya, when he saw actually he showed this in Gambira in last few years, what love is. Everything burns for in separation for that. So Lord Chaitanya came to taste this nectar of the greatest happiness, which took like the biggest, which looked like greatest grief in separation. So this is something which is very difficult. Just one more thing, Vijay. So sometimes people sing the Hare Krishna mantra, they feel that God is here. A person sings Kirtan and feels and touch of God. And this is actually important because this holy name is not different from Krishna. So one time Radharani was feeling separation from Krishna. So then she tells the gopis, you write Mahamantra on my body because it is non-different from Krishna. And now, one important last thing is, now people like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the highest love, such love that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. Because we can look at many saints, many acharyas, at many founders of religions, prophets, somewhere else. They give a lot of things. We are not denying all these great saintly people, great philosophers, they have come, they have given. And we must reverently accept. But Lord Chaitanya gave something that no one else gave and will never give also. He gave love above which is there is nothing beyond that love. So he put this love in the holy name. He left everything in this holy name. He did not just come and give. He did not just experience something and left, leaving us in darkness. So he came, he gave everyone access to this love. The only thing we must get rid of is our misconceptions or misunderstandings about Lord Chaitanya. If we understand who he is, if we understand how he came to save us and began to try to serve him a little bit, then what happens? He comes and gives us the opportunity to serve. He is giving that opportunity for us, repeating the holy name, spreading the holy name among the Chandalas and other similar living people. So among the Chandalas, there are many categories also. And everybody, any even animals also, they fell in love with the Lord. So that is his power. I think we'll end here. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you all very much. चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। गौर पूर्णिमा महामहोत्सव की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।